Hey everyone, we're going to take a quick break and talk about our sponsor for the month, TourScale. TourScale offers 3 different franchise models designed to work alongside your existing business. They are all manufactured right here in the US and include everything you need to launch your new business, including web, marketing, analytics, and data to automate your tour operations. Let's talk about the different options they offer. Trolley Pub is a 16-seat pedal-powered bike. Next is the Paddle Pub, a 26-passenger US Coast Guard CO-wide cycle boat. And lastly, the Tiki Pub, which can be built for 6, 20, or 30 passengers.
Hit up my boy Kai at tourscale.com. That's KAI at tourscale.com, or give him a call at 888-753-7507 and ask for Kai, or hit me up in the DMs and I'll give you his personal phone number. And we can talk all about how I saw one of Kai's pedal pubs at Arrival, and I thought it was super cool. And when we got into the weeds a little bit, Kai kind of explained to me the differences between their product and some of their competitors' product, and why it was so important that this stuff was being sourced here locally. And I couldn't agree more. You'll also notice a lot of this stuff is called Pub, and which is 100% on brand with what I'm all about, getting your people out safely, and a model that promotes safety by having a captain or somebody driving the vehicle that you're in while you're having some drinks. And I couldn't be more on board with those ideas. So hit up Kai at TourScale and talk to him. Let him know Kevin sent you from the Awkward Watersports Guys, and maybe he'll kick me back like a kickback or something, which would be dope.
All right, guys, let's get back to the show.
Man, look, let's just get into it. And we got an amazing guest on the show today. He's like one of my personal favorite people. He cracks me up, man. He's a real smart dude. We got Patrick Coughlin on the show. Builder, founder, CEO, whatever you want. Like before we got on the mic, I'm always like, when people are like want to be called a founder, I always like speak like, to me just a little bit. It's just kind of like an ego thing. Like everybody wants to be called a founder, but the guys that built stuff from the ground up are just like, dude, call me whatever you want, man. Patrick, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. It's a beautiful day.
Man, how's things going at Lowcountry, man? How's your season off to a start?
We're kicking it already. We're doing very well. We're ahead of last year, so our numbers are definitely way up. We're hitting all those preseason problems that we hit every year, staffing issues and things like that. But we're off to a great start, and we're excited.
Greg, how are you doing, man? How's your season off to?
Not as good as Patrick's. I'll be honest. I won't sugarcoat it. It's been challenging, and maybe it's a Florida thing because Patrick's out in Hilton Head. Yeah, but I will say, we're recording. It's May 9th today. We starting to see a little uptick. We had a good weekend. I think you had a good weekend too, Kevin. We had good weather.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to see kind of things turn over, but people just aren't spending as much as they were. Like our average ticket's down about 8%.
Well, that's because they're spending it with Pat.
Yeah, they're going to Hilton Head and spending it over here. But yeah, but you know what? There's a lot to look forward to. I mean, we had like really 2 really good years. So a smart business owner would have saved some money for the slow times. And Patrick's shaking his head. He's like, no, we invested that. Yeah, we're pretty good. We're pretty frugal with our money, and so if it is slow this year, then we'll just get through it and hope that the economic conditions improve. But it's not that. We're not talking like
my pillowcase is always a little crunchy.
Yeah, yeah. We're not talking like it's like disastrously slow. I don't want people to get the idea that this is like a horror. No, people are still going to travel. They're still going to spend money in water sports. And but last 2 years were really, really strong. I mean, you can't have 3 massively good years in a row. I mean, it's just not realistic. People got to take a break with their pocketbooks. But anyways, that's how things are going.
So Patrick, man, let's get the founder story, man. Let's get the origin story, man. How'd you get your start, brother?
How'd I get my start? Gosh, man, I did a bunch of things, but a long time ago, I was in medical equipment, and that just sucked. Selling medical equipment was no fun. If people needed a power wheelchair, their life wasn't going good, and they weren't happy. So that got us somehow into a pirate ship. We segued from medical equipment and wheelchairs into a pirate ship. And that was wildly successful. We did that for a long time, so much so that we needed to expand. And we got another location. And that ended up working out very well for us.
Flex.
So,
Give me your stats, man. What do you got? I want to know how big you are.
oh, how big we are. You want like pieces of equipment?
Yeah, let's go.
Oh boy, we've got 5 COI boats, including 2 pirate ships, dolphin boats from 50 passenger to 25, 3 of those. We've got, oh man, what else? We've got about 25 jet skis, 20 what we call creek cats, or everybody else calls Craig cats. We've got 20 or 25 mini boats, which are little Zodiacs. We've got the boat club. We've got about 35 boats in that. Of course, we've got kayak, paddleboard, electric bikes, segways, and now shark tooth buckets.
I love
the
it.
add-ons.
I love it. This is the most exciting thing in his life right now. Look at that goddamn smile.
Oh man, I love those shark tooth buckets. How much money was I leaving on the table?
Man, like Patrick, you're my kind of dude, man. Like, it's those little things that really get me excited. I do the same thing, man. Like, anytime we have something that's got like a ton of margin on it, and I think a lot of business owners get this wrong. You get excited about those $300,000 boats, but then, when you're putting out so much capital, you like to see things that have a lot of white meat on it. And you're like, man, if I could just scale shark teeth to the same level that I've scaled my water sport, if I was doing 7 million, 8 million annual revenue in shark teeth, it would just be like $7 million, $8 million would be in my bank account. And I think a lot of
so much easier.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. I think we love those little things that I think all of us entrepreneurs that are concerned with scale do. So there's a couple things, man, that so we're talking about marina management, and that's like, we'll get in that, and that's great and fun. But Patrick, I want to delve a little bit more into your story, man. Like, I saw you were doing this thing like every day on Facebook where you were posting like, my dad's not like ordinary dads, man. Like, what was the inspiration for that, and what are some of those things that you've done, man? Like, give me some of the highlight reel of that.
Are you tired of spending countless hours managing your water sport and boat rental reservations manually? Is your current system outdated or doesn't provide the necessary features that your business requires? Hi, I'm Greg Fisher, the CEO of WaveRes, an online reservation software built by operators for operators. With our system, you can offer 24/7 online booking to your customers, allowing them to book and pay for their rentals at their convenience. You can also send SMS notifications to your customers, keeping them updated on their reservation status and any changes that may occur. Custom options and dynamic pricing enable you to offer tailored packages to your customers, helping you stand out from your competitor. Plus, our system integrates with companies like Werewolf Digital Waivers and TripShock, streamlining your operations and ensuring a seamless booking experience for your customers. Our software is the best choice for water sport and boat tour operators, as it is designed to cater specifically to your needs. So why waste any more time on manual reservation management? Try WaveRes today and take your business to the next level. For a limited time, mention this ad and receive a $100 credit when you sign up. Check out waveres.com for more info or to schedule a free demo. Now let's get back to the show.
Oh God. So it came from something that my kids say all the time. Like, I'm one of those dads that'll I'll abuse them when we go out to a restaurant. The waitress will go to refill his soda and I'll be like, oh no, it's after 8:30 and we don't have plastic sheets at the hotel. I'll do whatever I can to embarrass them. And so my kids laugh at that. They're really thick-skinned. I've made 1 or 2 of their friends cry. So that's no good. But they'll tell you my dad's not like other dads. I walked into we were traveling back and forth one time, and we pull up to this restaurant, and there's about 300 motorcycles in the parking lot. And my kids are like, no, we can't go there. And I said, sure we can. We're going to have some food. And we go in, and it's family day. It's a great day for a bunch of bikers supporting a cause. But my kids are thinking we're walking into some kind of biker gang. And of course, I'm having photos taken with them. I got all these bikers standing behind them, and we're taking pictures. And my kids love it. I just love doing different things with them all the time.
Yeah. Man.
Wait, so my favorite one was you were on, was it Wheel of Fortune?
Oh, I was on Wheel of Fortune, yep.
Yeah, like the actual Wheel of Fortune, not like just a side thing, but like the show, like on TV.
Yeah, legit.
Yeah,
and you want
legit.
You want to hear something crazy about that? Number one, I wasn't really into it. I wanted Monica, my better half. I wanted her to get on, and somehow I ended up on the show. But oddly enough, Of course you got to say what you do, and I'm a pirate, and my first letter is R. But it also aired on Talk Like a Pirate Day, coincidentally.
Oh God!
So, and they do everything randomized on the show, so there's no way they could have planned that. And I ended up being on Wheel of Fortune on Talk Like a Pirate Day.
Did you talk
nice.
like a
How'd you
pirate
do?
the entire show, or?
I suck. Some chick, Rachel, the wheel just went her way at every turn. I didn't do anything wrong, but everything went Rachel's way.
Like, he's so competitive, man. Like, listen to the way he framed that story. It's like he remembers her name and everything, you know? Like,
oh, we're friends now. We became friends.
Oh my God, man. And like, to that competitive nature, like your spirit, man, like I'll see your post in Tourpreneur and I just like shake my head because I'm like, man, like you're still getting after every bad review. You know, you get a bad review, you're like, what the fuck, man? You know what I mean? Like it irks your soul. And you've got like 3,000 reviews, you know, like over 3,000 reviews.
I've got one now that's driving me insane, and I've put hours into getting it removed. And it's a person who's reviewing the hotel. They made a mistake. They meant to review their hotel, and they're saying that the desk person at the hotel is racist. And I can't get this off of our site. It's driving me insane.
Look, let me, and I hope this helps you sleep better at night. Here's my strategy for bad reviews, and I picked it up from Fury Water Adventures in Key West, who probably does, you know, more than all of us put together. I think last time I heard, I haven't been on there or looked at their numbers, but I know Fury probably does north of $25-30 million annual revenue. And something I identified before I started my company is that they were always super cheery in those review responses. So what I did is I took it a step further and I used it as a opportunity to market our business, right? So I'm crazy about reviews too. I hate negative reviews. One, I never get into a pissing contest with them or say that they were wrong. The second thing that I do is I market. So I market, like at the end of the day, we hate bad reviews because we're afraid somebody's reading them. And we're right that people are. And there's probably a small constituency of people that also read our responses. So like if I walk into a restaurant, for example, and I see some, like there's a restaurant by my house and they always have these like sort of like combative signs, right? Like during COVID, it was like a mask thing. And then there was like, now they replaced it with a dog thing. And all I can think about is the staff. I'm like, man, dude, if like they're this combative with me when I walk through the door about me bringing a dog or me wearing a mask or whatever it may be, whatever this side of the fight that ownership has picked, I'm like, God damn, man, they must like have like some real morals. And like, I can only think of their staff like, hey man, you have to have 17 pieces of flair. You know, you only have 16, George, and we said 17. And so that's my first thought when I walk through the door. So the same thing when I'm speaking to myself and to also get them. Like if I want to pay that 1-star person back, the thing that I do is I'm not just cheery, I market to who's reading it. Yes, yada, yada, yada. We're sorry you had a bad time. We really appreciate you choosing Destiny Water Adventures. We're running a great midweek special this week if you guys want to come back and get a discounted rate. And then I'll put an SEO long tail keyword search term in there just because I love it. And I don't think that helps our rankings at all, but it can't hurt. So I put the item in there. I put what we're offering in there. And now I've handed that off. So I don't know if they do as great of a job as I used to back in the day, but I would just react like as though I'm reselling a new acquisition. And then obviously we try and go through back measures to get that review removed because I've been down that path and I don't know how fruitful your endeavors would be to get Google to remove reviews. But as you said, sometimes it spends hours. I'd rather just take 5 minutes and pitch the person reading that response and move on with my day. But if you're getting traction on getting them removed, I love it.
Well, this particular one is on TripAdvisor.
Oh,
so
yeah. Yeah,
TripAdvisor
is a little more liberal with getting them removed, but same thing with TripAdvisor. And to that point, I always take TripAdvisor with a little bit more of a grain of salt because they are a partnership and we're paying 20% and they're going to do everything they can to highlight our product if we're doing numbers for them. And so to your point, yeah, TripAdvisor and the OTAs are definitely a little bit easier of a road to get those get those removed for sure. But man, I'd hire somebody, dude. Like you're gonna go to an early grave, bro.
So you say, did they mention the name of the hotel that they stayed in the review?
They didn't, but you can tell by the verbiage that they use. You can, the front desk, the concierge, or they use words that are very indicative of the hotel.
So I just had a situation. Well, this has been going on for almost 5 years. We just got it resolved, but one of our customers went on a partner's TripAdvisor page and left a review about TripShock because apparently everyone loves to give our customers the shittiest boats they have, and in this instance. The boat, the guy gave the chase boat, which was the shittiest boat in their fleet, to our customer, and it fell apart and all that. So they went on to that, but instead of going after the business instead said, well, you're a TripShock customer, so you get these type of boats. So they went on a tirade about our company and everything on this partner. So it was a 1-star review, and the worst part about this whole situation was that if you Googled TripShock reviews, it was the first result above everything else. In addition to that, there was another situation that was very similar. That was the second result. So number 1 and number 2, when you Google, and we're people doing several thousand visits to our site a day, and they are searching TripShock reviews a lot. I see it in our search history. So these people are hitting these 2 reviews, and I know it's probably had a massive effect on our sales. So luckily, since TripShock was named in the review of that business, the first time we've actually tried to get rid of the review multiple times, but it's the way you flag it. So we acted as if we were a employee of the business, and we said, hey, we're so-and-so with this company. This is not a review about our business. This is a review about TripShock. And they immediately removed it. Like, I'm talking within 5 minutes. So 5 years of trying to get this removed. In 5 minutes, it was gone because it had a different name of the business in there, and it's black and white. This is in their policies that they will remove it if it's the wrong company. So so that was an interesting situation. So if you have someone else, if someone else's business name in your review, they will remove it, and you want to make sure that it gets flagged and taken out. But Patrick, your case is a little. It's not as black and white. So
I think Patrick needs his own podcast, his own Grinds My Gears podcast, man. Because he goes into tourpreneur, man, and he just hems those people up, man. And
then he gets attacked. Then he'll get attacked.
Like maybe there might be some after work drinks going on when you're into these posting rampages. Like, am I wrong on that, or? Hey guys, we're going to take a quick break to talk about the Watersports Forum, which is now being rebranded as the Port at Arrival.
That's right, Kevin. We're going to be doing our 3rd annual Watersport and Boat Tour Operator Forum, now called the Port, from October 9th to the 12th. So let's break it down real fast. The first day, October 9th, is the full day event where we'll bring in speakers, host panels, do roundtable sessions. If you went to the year previous, you kind of understand the format. The rest of the week, we'll be partnering with the Arrival Conference to bring you supplemental programming in our special VIP room called Captain's Cove.
Listen, I want you guys to hear me loud and clear. If you guys are listening to this show, if you guys have ever come to one of our conferences before and you thought that was great, this is going to be jam-packed with value. Now, I want to tell you one last thing. Somebody, a very smart investor, once told me that you bet on the jockey, not on the pony. So I'm asking you guys to bet on this conference, on Greg and myself, on Doug and Bruce at Arrival, and know that the amount of value that you are going to extract from both of these conferences are going to be an incredible return on that investment.
So let's talk pricing. A one-day ticket for the forum will run $199. This also includes lunch and our after-hours event. If you decide to stay for the Arrival Conference, you can purchase a combo ticket, which gives you a 15% discount on both events. Because the pricing goes up each month leading up to the event, and this commercial doesn't change, please head to the watersportpodcast.com and click on 2023 conference. Again, watersportpodcast.com, click on the 2023 conference link in the menu, and then you can view the current pricing for the combo package and the arrival ticket. You'll also find info on lodging and programming programming. This year, we're going to be having at the Rosen Shingle Creek, which is an awesome resort.
Special guest speakers. We're going to have a lineup that is going to knock your socks off. We're going to be covering everything from assets, finance, marketing, operations. Like, this is the one and done mastermind. And I don't know when we're going to be able to do something this comprehensive again. And guarantee you, if we do, we'll be bringing the same value in a smaller group for 10 times the amount of money, because it really is that valuable.
Be sure to get your tickets early because we only have 125 seats. Again, watersportpodcast.com. Go to 2023 conference, and from there you can purchase your tickets, you can purchase your combo tickets, you can purchase your lodging. Everything you need to know about the conference is on that page. If you have any questions, just reach out to Kevin or myself. Go to our Facebook group, hit us up. We'd be happy to answer anything you need, and we'll see you there. Let's get back to the show.
No, I rarely drink, but I do take a couple of the things personally. Like, I very much, everybody knows me as being the anti-OTA guy. Like, but I'm really not. I use them all to my best advantage. But what I don't like is when things take what I would call kind of an immoral turn. If you're a partner, you should be a partner, and you shouldn't rewrite the playbook, and you need to work with each other. Like a simple thing, a great example would be targeting my business name in my Google review. That's not bringing me more customers. That's taking customers away. And all I need to do is Google my name, and if I see that they are coming up right in my Google listing, well, then we need to make that change.
Well, I got a question for both of you guys. Do you not think that before TripAdvisor partnered with Viator, you were getting direct leads from your TripAdvisor listing? Now, they're somewhat cannibalizing that, because now your products are listed on your TripAdvisor page and they're pushing people, somewhat subverting the direct business. Does that bother you? Does that affect you guys in some way? I mean, Patrick, you've been around a lot longer. Have you seen?
Kevin, can I take this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that drives me wildly nuts. And that's exactly what I meant by immoral. We started off with a relationship with TripAdvisor. We built their business. They told us they were a review site. So we send all our customers to them. It was supposed to be, just clear review, and they make their money on ad spend or, showing little ads. But then one day they made a change and said, ooh, we'll take our cut of all these tours. We built them. We got them the eyeballs. And then all of a sudden they kind of turned against us. And not only that, you could watch them every week find ways to marginalize us. You could see first our name go below the fold, then the phone number disappear. Then the tour names become non-specific. So company names came out of the tour names. And they completely white labeled us over a fairly short period of time. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That kind of a thing, to me, was very underhanded. And I likened it to an abusive spouse. You can't, it's true, or an abusive partner. Like, all of a sudden they're punching you, and there's nothing you can do about it because you're tied at the hip. You can't just cut it off.
You can.
You can.
So I want to play a little devil's advocate to this, because firstly, I agree with you. The brand jacking thing, targeting your company as a keyword. Okay, I see that. Putting the company name in the H1 or in the headline rather. Yeah, I don't like it, man. I mean, for sure. I don't like somebody clicking on a Destiny Water Adventures and heading to TripAdvisor or TripShock or Get Your Guide or anything like that. However, I would say this. One, there are things you can do with that with Google. You can go through the process of, copywriting your name and requesting this copyright infringement paperwork with Google to subvert that. However, I believe the same to be true of our marketing. So if you want to brand jack them, if they're brand jacking you, then I say throw a headliner that says TripAdvisor, throw a headliner that says Get Your Guide, or whatever you have, whatever it may be. And I believe that if you have content continuity across your platforms, look, man, when you Google things to do in Fort Walton Beach, man, like, we come up on all of those OTAs. We don't have the direct relationship that the OTAs have with Google, nor do we have the visibility in the carousels. So while I see that to be true, I also realize that I can fight as best as possible to make sure that we're not cannibalizing our brand. And so when you go and you look at those things, you realize what company you're about to do business with, because my pictures on those carousels are they're all interlinked. And when you go onto my site, it's all very interlinked. And I think that the more savvy customers, they do understand that booking direct has a whole host of, I don't even book hotels or airline tickets through OTAs. All you have to do is get burned by those guys once with not being able to. Oh, funny. Jared Broach just texted me, sent you some Viator information. Jared Broach from Eat, Drink, Scared just texted me. His ears must be burning because I think he hates OTAs more than any of us. But it's being creative, right? So they're being creative in their marketing. The only way we can combat that is by being creative in our marketing. And I can tell you that I've done everything under the sun with these type of efforts made by OTAs and the relationships that they have with Google and Fair Harbor and Peak Pro to subvert them. So you got to understand, they're smart. It's up to us to be smarter.
Oh, they're definitely, I mean, they're a big part of my strategy. So when, people think that I'm completely against it, that's not true at all. But for anybody that's new in the business and coming up, you really need to understand how that relationship works, and you need to develop your strategy.
I got a tip and a strategy I will tell you off air. I'm not going to talk about it. This is a Kevin O'Neill secret. I'm not giving this one away to my market. But you and I off air will talk about it, and I can help you on how to reduce the dependence on them a little bit, especially.
Yeah, and I got like a real quick story to tell, because there is a lot of people listening that are new and they are getting on all these OTAs. I mean, when I say OTA, I mean, let's not mince it. Like, Get My Boat, Boat Setter, they are OTAs. But we had a partner in like 2013, a single sailboat, and he put all his eggs in TripShock. Like, we're talking like he did not do anything else. He's like, okay, Greg, you do the Google ads. I just want to run my boat. Okay, great. So he didn't build a website, nothing. He did really well for like 2 years. He crushed it. I mean, he made a really good living just paying the commission. Now, the third year, we had so much demand for sailboats that I added 2 more. Well, now his business went down a third, and he failed to build his brand and build his direct marketing. By the time he started doing that, he was losing so much business. He's yelling at me, angry at me because I added more tours. And, that's a lesson to be learned, that you can't put all your eggs in one of these OTAs because, you never know when they're going to add more product on. They're going to change things. They're going to increase commission. You need to build direct channels. And eventually, over time, OTAs need to be under 20% of your business. That's the number that everyone should be working towards. I'm saying that as an OTA. Like, I don't want to book all your business. And I want to be responsible.
Do they have access to your entire inventory?
Me, no.
What do you exclude them from? Like certain activities, or?
So typically certain activities, they don't, it depends, but there's just certain things. And then what we do a lot of times is we change some of the activities. So we'll create, for lack of a better term, a VIP. They don't get access to that, or they actually only get access to that. That way we're charging more and we still end up netting the same. Gotcha.
Yeah, we do similar. Anyway, yeah, man. So you're such an interesting character. I set a little bit of a space in between this show and the next one because I had a feeling we might go over, because I love Patrick Coughlin. I'm in the Patrick Coughlin fan club, so I knew we would end up talking about pirates and Wheel of Fortune and biker gangs. So let's get into this. You own the marina that you're operating out of?
No, I don't own it. I have the commercial lease on the whole marina. And because I have the commercial lease, my employees and I manage the whole marina. We break it into two pieces, commercial and residential. And by residential, we just mean the average Joe with his boat that wants a space for either the summer or a transient.
So what are some of the challenges that go into, so for lack of a term, I mean, you also, so while I don't have the massive duty, like we have the same deal in our place. So we also manage, but I'm not managing near the same amount of slips and those sort of challenges. So, I mean, because right before I took this meeting, before we took this, I had a meeting and a call and an email and was like, hey, you need to deal with this. And I'm like, fire suppression, you know what I mean? I'm like, what? You know what I mean? So what are some of your challenges that you're being met with on a daily basis with some of this?
Gosh, you know what? For us, the biggest challenges are setup. All of our docks are linear. And so there's like no slips or very few slips. And you're constantly moving boats around and trying to find ways to make it work. And it makes it very hard to be efficient too. We've got over 7,000 feet of linear dockage. It's really hard to shuffle. And there's very little software that'll actually show you how those, Jenga pieces fall into place. And then, of course, staffing, we're on an island, so we face that Airbnb dilemma, right? Everybody's complaining that there's no more long-term rental markets. It's all been taken over by Airbnb. So that's problematic. We're facing that in every segment of our business.
Pat, you made a good point. A couple of weeks ago, someone was asking advice about, marina management, and you made a good point about basically kick out all the sailboats and residential boats and just rent commercially. I don't recall the exact comment, but I know from like when we had I had a jet ski business for a couple years, and the residential sailboat people were such a pain in the ass. I don't know why the marina owner put like half commercial, half residential, because every time a jet ski goes by, they're swearing and yelling at us. It was a constant battle. But the marina needed the commercial businesses to help pay for things like fuel and make money, basically, because they know they're not making money on someone renting a long-term slip. So walk us through that comment and because I think there's a lot more there to unpack.
Well, yeah, there is a lot to it. Certainly, you got to keep in mind commercial stuff. You're going to get a percentage of. Anytime you're doing a lease with somebody who's commercial, you're going to have a minimum of what would be normal slip space per foot, and then you're going to take a percentage of everything that they do above and beyond that. So doing commercial boat clubs, fantastic. You want to get that, and you want to make sure that that's healthy. And it's weird because a lot of people, I own a Carefree Boat Club. In my marina, we have both a Freedom and a Carefree Boat Club. A lot of marinas are hesitant to do boat clubs, but in the end, they can be a wild profit center, because the boat club is willing to pay high rent. And of course, the jet ski and the parasail and all those guys are typically willing to pay higher rent. And then what I was saying was not so much get rid of everybody. You want a healthy mix, but what you do want to get rid of is a lot of the liveaboards. And I hate saying that because I like being on my boat all the time and I like staying places. But there's really
like a regular old sailboat, your boat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's like a regular old liveaboard.
I live by the wind. That's it. With liveaboards, they're kind of like, they fall into three categories that I could tell. You got your hippies, deadbeats, and degenerates. Drug dealers fall in that as well. And then you got
your marina? Oh, man,
not my marina. We used to have that a lot. You could get anything. But they're the worst of the worst liveaboards. And you could tell them by the smell. That's the first one. The hippies, the drug dealers, and the deadbeats, you could tell them. They're the worst of the liveaboards. Then the next level is the welded wallets. These are the guys that it's 90% sailboats, 10% old school trawlers. And they just don't want to spend any money. They're living at a marina because they think it's going to be super cheap. They don't want to pay taxes. They don't want to do anything. And they got a cheap or free boat. And then last but not least, you have, the life is good people, the rock stars. And they're living they're 90% power boats and 10% sailboats. And they don't care. They're buying fuel. They're doing whatever it takes. They're enjoying the lifestyle. Those are the ones you want. Having a few of those at the marina is good. And having a few big boats to give yourself credibility, that's good. So you want to mix. And those liveaboards, they come with a whole lot of other baggage too. The showers and the internet. The moment internet goes down, you'll get 1 million phone calls. And garbage, your garbage pails will be full every single day, every single time. So it's a lot more taxing on the marina. And 2 of those 3 categories are there to spend no money. So it's a bad way to try and make a buck.
Patrick, I got a question. When it comes to commercial, you can do percentage rent, you can do flat fee, you can do a combination. You can partner with some of the water sport rental companies, kind of do like a joint venture. I've seen all types of different setups. So, in your opinion, what is the best setup at a marina? We can go from like a renter or a water sport company standpoint, and also from a landlord standpoint.
Well, from the water sports standpoint, which is what I feel myself as, because I don't own the marina. I wish I had a flat rate. I mean, I really do. But my landlord, he's smarter than that. He's taken a percentage of everything I do. That's a tough one to answer. From the marina's standpoint, you want that percentage of everything, and you want to spread it across more than one person, unless that person is very financially capable. Because then you're limited. Even my landlord, he's known, he's seen where I'm building and I need to, bring in more inventory, and he's willing to let me wait. And he's good like that, fortunately for me. But I could imagine another landlord that would turn around and say, hey, no, you need to, you're at 8 jet skis, you need to be 25. And I could understand why they would feel that way, because they want that revenue. But the other thing too is the more commercial that you have, depending upon the setup of your marina, like we have 3 restaurants on property plus a retail location, then fuel. So commercial, he's making way more money on fuel. The restaurants are making a ton more money, and everybody's happy by having a great mix of commercial with a little bit of residential thrown in there for consistency, and help get you through the slow months too.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's, seems to be like a healthy mix to have some, bigger boats in there. Kevin, do you have some questions?
Yeah, I got one follow-up. And so what do you think is the most advantageous, most advantageous quality to the owner of a property to leverage a long-term lease? I think this is what everybody would want to know, right? So if you're, especially here, you're looking at mostly our year to year. You have commercial dockage inside of city. Some of these guys are even month to month. If you're trying to leverage, let's say, a 10-year lease or something of this magnitude, how do you approach your landlord? Besides the obvious of increased rents, but what are some of these selling points when you're asking for this?
The real obvious thing is capital investment. If your landlord is any kind of a business person, he knows that you cannot be a solid partner and willing to invest capital with such a short horizon. I've got 3 boats on order. Multiple millions of dollars. And if I didn't think I had the next 10 years of longevity, I'd never do that. And so he gets the win.
So if this might be too personal, if you want to, tell me to go pound sand, feel free to do so. But obviously when you're stepping to the table with that and you're talking about investing back into their property, other than offering like a revenue share, how do you even approach that without just looking at your books and going from a straight dollar? I know guys that there's people in this market that pay 20%, as high as 20% of gross sales for their location. And what do you think? What would you say is What is something where you can live that's a percentage of, as rent being a percentage of your total business model before you just throw in the towel and, we want 40%. You're like, okay, well, I'll just go sell pizza somewhere, man.
I mean, for me, I think the max that you can ask and feel good about it has to be give and take, right? And another thing to the point that you made just before, one of the big qualities is, as a tenant, you have to be willing to let your landlord have wins too. Like, it's got to be 50-50. You can't always be winning. Everybody has to win. And so, in my mind, 15%, like, I'm lucky. I pay less than that. And I don't want to do every single activity under the sun. I don't want to be doing fishing charters personally. And so I said to some of the local fishermen, come on in. This is the percentage rent. And I get to keep the difference between my rent and their rent. And I put them at 15. I get a little piece of it. But to tell you the truth, it's not at all worth it for me. I just do it because it's good for my landlord. I don't need that dock space. It's good for him. He makes the lion's share of that rent. And everybody walks away happy. I'm in control. I get to determine my fate. And he gets, more dollars. It's kind of funny too, because like I look at one of the things that's my nemesis is jet skis. To me, the jet skis are a difficult business to manage. And quite frankly, I could live without. And if I did without them, that'd be fine for me. However, that would be a significant percentage of rent that disappears from the landlord's pocket. So I know one way or another, really need to have those jet skis at that marina. So I can't just make them disappear. If I ever wanted to change it, I'd have to find a way to either walk away from it, but let somebody else do it, and the landlord still get his due, or partner with somebody and figure out a way to do it that way.
Okay, we got time for one more question.
That was definitely a personal question for me, my friend. So I really appreciate that answer, man. And while it's personal for me, it's obviously a negotiation that I think that we are all doing on a regular basis insofar as rent, especially in this market, especially is, man, it gets difficult because you have a lot of operators that have no idea what they're doing, and they're willing to come in and pay like absurd amounts for slip rents because they have, they have one boat or something like that. But regardless of that, man, Patrick, we really appreciate your time, and we really appreciate you coming out, man. This has been an entertaining and illuminating episode, to say the least, man. How can people get a hold of you?
Anybody can catch me. I mean, my cell number's out there, so people can find me and
call me.
And my email, patrick@hhilocal.com.
You heard it here first, guys. If you guys got a growing anything commercial-wise, Patrick Coughlin's your guy if he's got slips available. Patrick, man, thank you so much for coming on. And guys, as always, keep it awkward.